Superior attack!
Welcome back to Superior Tech. As always, I am Respecugnize, and we will be looking at Symetra. This is new Symetra, or let's be honest, depending on when you're watching this, this is new Symetra. But it is near July of 2018, and so we're going to call this new Symetra. So Symetra here
the true enemy of humanity is disorder.
Has a lot of ideas on the true enemy of humanity and does not like disorder. So this is the new Symetra. She's basically just been released, hasn't been out that long, so decided to cover her before we have to backtrack and look at other heroes that we're going to have to do updates for. So there are some changes to Symetra. My first impression was that really the character it's a balance of nerfs and buffs. There's some things that are missing now that were quite useful, and things that were added that are going to be very useful also, but that's good because I think it'll revive the character. But enough on my opinion, let's go through the kit. As always, we'll go through primary fire, secondary fire, left shift, E, ult, and then how to play the character and how to play against the character. So let's begin. So starting on primary fire's photon projector, it has very few changes from the old way, but we'll look at it. The damage is 60, 120, and 180 per second tiered, and we'll get to how that tier works in a second. Maximum range is 10 meters, so it is relatively short. Rate of fire is 20 per second at the appropriate tick rate. The ammo in the magazine is 70, as you can see in the bottom right hand corner, and the ammo usage is 7 per second. But you will actually gain 7 per second if you attack an enemy barrier. Hint, hint, it's an anti-barrier weapon. So the reload time is 1.8 seconds and it will not headshot. So every 2 seconds we're going to jump in tier with this weapon, and the beam is going to change to show you that, and we'll look at that when we get down to the firing range. Secondary fire is going to be energy ball. It is now both a projectile and an explosive impact weapon. So the damage is 6 to 60 for impact and 6 to 60 for explosion, depending on the fall off range, because this is a fall off damage weapon. The projectile speed is 20 meters per second, so it is relatively slow. The rate of fire is 0.2 to 1 second for the charging, depending on how long you want to charge it, because it is a charged weapon. And it has 0.063 seconds of recovery whenever you're firing it. So it is a chargeable weapon, and that is going to show a lot of variance on what happens, including your ammo. So the ammo in the magazine is the same as the primary ammo, and that's 70 rounds, but the ammo usage is 1 to 10 round based upon how long you have charged it. The reload time is 1.8 seconds, which is the same as reloading from primary, and it will not headshot. So you will simply hold down right click, and you see on the reticle it has a that circle is going to come up. Once it's charged all the way, you will be able to hold for 1 second, and as you see, if you time it, you can get a second shot to come out right after. And we'll go over the timing of that when we go to the firing range. So going down to left shift is the sentry turret. It is a beam and a projectile, meaning that when you shoot it, it's going to come out as a projectile. This is different from the old way in which you used to place them. Now what you're going to do is you're going to shoot them, and so it does shoot out as a projectile. Once they plant on a surface, they start the ability to shoot the beam just like they used to. The health of each one is 30. The damage is 50 per second, and unlike before, they will actually cause a slowdown of 1 meter per second on the beams. They do not stack. The projectile speed is 12 meters per second when you are firing them. Of course, the beam is instantaneous. The maximum range is 10 meters off the beam, and so once again, pretty short range there. Ammo is at 3. This is down from the 6 when you used to place them. Now you only have 3 of them, and you can only have 3 on the field. So the casting time is 0.5 seconds. That is your animation of her movement, and then 1 second for the deployment, and then of course highly variable on the time it takes to get there based upon how far you're going to shoot it. The cooldown is 10 seconds per charge, and they will not headshot. So once again, unlike the old way, you simply just pick a place and you fire, and it's going to move infinitely on that line to where you want it to go. Once it gets there, then it has the ability to fire. And see, it's going to eliminate those 2. And you can always see where your turrets are, because there's always going to be an icon. And as soon as they start to fire, you're going to see the icon telling you that something is going on with that turret. While they're firing, of course, the icon is going to flash yellow. That tells us it's firing. And we'll go over how to use that to your advantage. Teleport is on E. It is 50 health and provides 250 in shield. The maximum range is 25 meters from where you are. And the cast time is 1 second for the animation, 2 seconds for the deployment, for a grand total of 3 seconds complete. The duration is 10 seconds, and the cooldown... I'm trying to tell them how awesome you are. Please don't interrupt. The cooldown is 12 seconds. So we no longer have the energy barrier projector, which was on E, where you could fire the oval-shaped shield and it traveled forward and nothing could get past it. Instead, now we have the teleporter. You are going to press E, and this is going to be familiar. It looks just like what used to be the ult. And then you can get out to 50, and if you cancel on the right, nothing's going to happen. You won't have a cooldown. You can put it back up, but you can place it a place anywhere you want it within your range, and there you go. Now you have your teleport. Now when you go into Symetra, you are going to have to pick a button that's going to toggle your ability to use the teleporter there. Inanimate objects will go through the teleporter without having to be toggled, and we'll go over that a little bit more, but you're going to have to set a button because this is a new ability and a new way of using it. So we're actually going to go down to the firing range and start looking at things. So on the primary fire, what you have is a tier. And once again, we'll go through the numbers. It's 60 damage, 120 damage, and 180 damage. This is on a 2-second ramp and also on a 2-second cooldown. So if we start over here, thanks a lot, friendly bot. We're going to start over here. 2 seconds later, you're going to see that the beam gets wider. There it is. And then if we come over here, we can get to the 3rd tier where the beam starts to make that noise. And so that's how you're going to know right there, and that was it cooling down. That's how you're going to know where you are in the range. It does not seek the way it used to. That's a little nerf to it because it used to be very much like Mora's primary fire. Mora's secondary fire, where it would kind of snake towards it. Now it is just a straight beam, but it still has the tiering effect where it would ramp in damage the longer you have it. There's no enemy barriers here for us to knock down, so I can't show you how it does add 7 ammo per second, but it does. And so once again, hint hint, Symetra is going to be a terror to enemies that use barriers and things like that, because it's going to allow her to fill her ammo without a recharge, and while she's doing that, she's ramping her power up. So it is a good way to pre-charge that weapon. So on the secondary fire, depending on the timing of how you use the icon there, and once again, if we charge this, we're going to see a circle widen in circumference from the center point all the way to the edge. at the time in which it hits the edge, you have 1 second of charge to hold it, and then you fire it. If you kind of click again, you can get it to do a small charge and fire another bubble. Let's see if I can do it again. And so with this, you'll see that you're going to have to lead the character, because that's a rather slow projectile. And so that's how you throw the double. What you're going to do is you're going to charge with your right, and as soon as it lets go, you're going to tap again, and it's going to fire a second one. And I'm trying to get it where it will show. There you go. And you can see that it actually fires a second one right after. So let's move to the side just in case you missed it.
That was for your own good.
And so you can see that I was able to actually get 3 out. Now the second and tertiary are not going to do as much damage as the first, but just in case you just feel the need to get multiple shots out there, you can do it that way and kind of hack it a little bit. Alright, so on the turrets, they're pretty self-explanatory. We'll do it again. And so that's a little bit of a difference than the way you used to be. And of course, that is the reason why it's gone down to 3 turrets instead of 6 turrets, because Symetra used to be able to just lock down an area completely. Talking about things like Volskaya Industries, Hanamura, and some of the other points in which Symetra could just basically hold out a whole team, as long as the rest of your team had any ability to kind of shoot any had any skill in shooting. She was able to kind of knock things down. I'm just realizing that the vampire skin makes those creepy eyes, right? So you can only put 3 down, which is the other way that they balance this out now that you can shoot them. But they are rather slow projectiles, so any ideas of shooting these at like an entire team of people, not really going to happen, because it's moving so slow that can easily be tracked and fired. Anyone with decent skill will be able to knock that thing right out. But the other way of doing it, let's show some hacks going on to the teleporter. Let's say we put these down here. I need to wait for the third one to come off cooldown. So we're going to put these here. And if I am within range of this, we're going to press E and put that teleporter there. The teleporter that you're going to fire from, or the teleporter closest to you, is always going to be right in front of you. So we put that down, and you see it teleported the turret in there, or the 2 turrets. Yeah, it should be 2 turrets got teleported through. So any type of inanimate object is going to instantaneously teleport. And so you can use this for things like Mecha from Diva and the tire from Junkrat. Both of them can be aimed through a teleporter, and they will instantaneously teleport. So that's going to be the new skill base for Symetra and other players, is using some teleport shenanigans, and we're definitely going to see some of that coming up. So that's going to bring us to the ult. It is Photon Barrier. Gone is the ability to make a teleporter, because obviously we can just make them anytime. And gone is the ability to make a barrier projector, because once again, whenever we have the E, we can do that anytime also. So it is a 5,000 health energy barrier. The maximum range from you is 25 meters. The area of effect is infinite. So it is a flat barrier. It is going to cover everything. It can go across any map. It goes all the way up, and it goes all the way across. And any holes in the map are going to let that barrier go through. The duration is 15 seconds. The charge required is 1,500 points. So this is a change that is going to allow Symetra to completely troll hit scan characters and snipers. So effectively, Symetra is now in my opinion, one of the trolliest characters in the entire game. Just able to just annoy the crap out of people with all types of shenanigans, teleporting stuff around, including teams, putting barriers up that stop hit scan characters from getting those things. You can say goodbye to the high noon. Widowmaker is now going to have to change her position. Any of those sniper characters, just awful to deal with now with Symetra. So we're going to take a look at this. You just hit Q to bring it up, and the same thing, cancel on the right, build on the left, and very much like May's Ice Wall, you just simply press Q again, and that allows you to change the direction in which it's firing. Right now, there's a good way to look at it. It's gone in front of us. This way it's horizontal, and you would just build the wall, and there it is. It's just a big wall that sits there blocking shots forever. So while the wall has a health pool, we do not see any type of ability to knock that down without a complete team firing at it. So the way to use that once again is really just to stop those hit scan characters from being dangerous. It's a counter to the McCrees and the Widowmakers out there. So that's Symetra in a nutshell. There's going to be, basically it's going to be your opinion on whether you like the changes or not. Myself, there were some things that I liked before. 6 turrets over 3 and placing them, but 3 turrets that I can fire where I don't have to put myself necessarily in danger to go and place them is good. I did like the ult with a teleporter that sat there till a certain amount of people went through, but at the same time being able to put a teleporter and a shield down at the same time every 12 seconds is not bad. The ability to take some objects and send them through there is going to be amazing. Now also in the shenanigans that's going to allow a good team of players with communication to do is amazing. The same thing with the beam. Its changes are a little different. I did like the fact that it used to track, but arguably it's not that bad now. Just being a straight fire weapon that tears up so quickly and will allow you to keep tier, whereas primarily the old way, it was per enemy. So when you were firing, it would ramp up, but as soon as you switched to another enemy, you basically started that again. So now Symetra with the multi-kills is going to be far more dangerous with the ability to just kind of go back and forth, especially if it's a character that's going to put up barriers. Then she could basically fire almost infinitely at that full tiered 180 damage per second that she gets when it's ramped up. So that's Symetra. Do with her what you like. I do look forward to seeing all the highlights of good players, and especially the pros once this patch hits their gameplay, to see all the creative ways in which we can have people fire rip tires and those diva bombs, the nerf this, the self-destruct, and surprise people. Basically being both a character now that still has the ability to control choke points, maybe not as well, but can control choke points, but can also completely decimate them with her ability to teleport people all the time. So look forward to getting some good Symetra playing in, because I'll be using her to troll a bit and also to play with a special Symetra player that I know, and the ability to team up with him to get some things done. So if there are any changes, and there won't be any soon because this just happened, if I got anything wrong or you know anything that I don't, send me a message, PM, whatever way you can get information to me, and we'll go from there. Also, we are now at the point of getting affiliates on Twitch, so there'll be a lot more streaming and some giveaways there. Hop in, it's the same name, Respecugnize. Tell me hi or give me any criticism you have on these so I can take that into account, note it, and completely ignore it. So I'll be talking to you guys soon. Enjoy and have fun.
Respecugnize game when I get on the move. Respecugnize game on Twitch and YouTube. Respecugnize, we the cool for the new and old school. I'ma show you how to do it when I do it so smooth. Respecugnize the truth.